Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Aidan Nelson, and I'm here with Billy Bennett and a number of our colleagues. And we're here to present YORB2020. So our brief agenda for today, if we can get through it all in the next 20 or 30 minutes so that we can actually have a time to demonstrate this project, is to do some introductions, talk about what is YORB and YORB2020, how it works, and then we're going to do a field trip into the actual space. So first of all, who am I? I'm Aidan. I'm a researcher in residence at New York University's Interactive Telecommunications Program, which is a program that focuses on finding new ways of using existing communications technology to really explore what creativity is possible with these technologies. So what is YORB? YORB in the early 1990s was a project started by a man named Dan O'Sullivan. Dan O'Sullivan is the current chair of the Interactive Telecommunications Program. And YORB was essentially a TV show. It was a TV show that aired on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, which was a local public access television station in Manhattan in the 90s, which contained a virtual world which was literally in the shape of an orb, a sphere, which you'll see a little bit of on a video on the next slide. Now, let me just make sure my screen share includes sound. Hold on just one second. Okay, so we're still very much learning about YORB and about the various people who were associated with this project in the 90s. But in short, this was an interactive television show which allowed viewers to call in using their phones and using the touch tone keypad on their phone, be able to interact with the show in various ways, which you will see in this short demo video, which I'll play now.
A voice accompanied by a pair of red cartoon lips came on the air and asked about the show. A second voice and a set of green lips came on and explained that 4 people at a time can call in and speak. Each person in the world gets a different color set of lips. One person at a time gets to be what's called the pilot and direct everyone's viewpoint around the YORB. You can tell who is the pilot by the color of the virtual keypad and frame. The green lips became the pilot, and he described how to move around the world.
You use the 2 button to move forward. You use the 8 button to move backwards. The 4 button moves you left. And the 6 button moves you right. The 7 button moves you up. And the 9 button moves you down.
So I'm going to stop it there, but there was more than you could do, more that you could do besides just navigating the space on your phone. You could draw. There were rooms where you could dance. There was a queer area and a video art area, and there was even a Zen temple with 3 prophets that you could speak with. And crucially, this was a technology which in the 1990s, before the common adoption of the internet, allowed individuals to interact with one another and with the media that was being presented to them. So after Dano started this project, a guy named Nick West took over the project and ran it as a class in the Interactive Telecommunications Program, working on such projects as this dance floor, which you'll see in a moment. Allows people to actually control digital avatars on a virtual space and be able to control them.
Go to the dance floor. Use the buttons on your phone.
And using the touch-tone keypads on their phone, they were able to actually move and dance with these virtual avatars.
Oh, look. Check that out. You guys are dancing.
So the YORB show lasted for 5 or 6 years in the 1990s, and it was revived and reimagined for 2020. So in March of 2020, at the very beginning of the pandemic, this is what my desktop looked like. I had Slack, I had Discord, I had email, I had Zoom, and I often also had my phone next to me with WhatsApp, text, Signal, and maybe 2 or 3 other messengers at any given time. So this was a time when, and continues to be, when it's both very important to and very difficult to communicate with one another in a natural way. So we asked the question, how to create an organic way of interacting with one another online. And we came up with this solution, which was based in a 3D model of the space where the group of us work. It was modeled by a colleague of ours, and we began to layer in different ways of interacting in this space, including adding video and audio interaction, which is positional, and the ability to move around the space and see various people in that space. My colleague Billy is going to show you in more detail exactly how the space looks in just a second. But first, I'm just going to briefly mention a few of the technologies in play in YORB. So how does it work? So YORB is browser-based. It works on the web using HTML and JavaScript. It makes use of a number of web APIs or web browser technologies, including Three.js, which is implementation of the web graphics language, including server-side technology, the latest and greatest server-side Node.js technology, which allows the exchanging of information between all of the people within the space. I'll mention that this was the original server documentation from the YORB show of the 1990s. It allowed people to call in on their phones. It allowed people to actually access an associated message board on their computers, and it was broadcast to 250,000 Manhattan televisions. Our server-side setup is much simpler, just computers are connecting. We also use the WebSockets API, which is a way of connecting with servers through a library called Socket.io, which allows us to share positions of each of the users within space. And finally, users are able to see one another using real-time communications using the WebRTC API. So next, my colleague Billy is going to bring us into the YORB space. So take it away, Billy, and I'm going to stop sharing.
Hello, everyone. My name is Billy Bennett. Thank you so much, Aiden. I am also a research resident at the ITP program. So I recently graduated. I also run a thing there with some other folks called the Coding Lab, and we are a walk-up help desk for students to get help with their code. So one of the things we're doing at the Coding Lab is we're trying to figure out, of course, everyone's trying to figure out nowadays, what is a good alternative to helping someone on Zoom. So when we try to help students with their code, as soon as I landed in the YORB space, I was so excited. I thought, man, how could we use this? So I'm here to show kind of one implementation that we've done here recently, which is a screen sharing feature. But before we get into that, I'm just going to take us into the YORB space now. And this is a special space we've set up just for this presentation. So when you first get into YORB, it's going to ask you to, if it's okay to use your webcam. And I'm going to enter the space. And as Aiden said, this is a scale model of the ITP floor. And you can see some of our students here have joined us this morning. And you can move around the floor using the arrow keys or the WASD keys as typical in games. And your mouse kind of helps you look around. You can also, there's other controls as well. You can mute your mic and turn it on, your camera on and off. And you can see a small low resolution version of my camera down at the bottom middle of the screen. So I'm waving with my hand and you can see it sort of on the screen there. So like I said, this is basically our entire floor at 370 J Street in Brooklyn. You can move about the space. There's only a few students here, but every office, every beam has been faithfully modeled for us. And another great feature that I love is when you press the 1 key, it will paint the walls automatically for you. So I'm going to leave that there. And this morning we wanted to show you kind of one way we've been thinking of using this space. So we've built sort of a faux projector screen here, and we're going to let our students show some of their work to you this morning on that projector screen. So we're really excited about this feature, you know, and I think first up is Yiting. She's a second-year student at the ITP grad program. And Yiting, you can take it away. Let me make sure that I'm sharing the computer sound. One sec. Okay, they should be able to hear you now, Yiting. Go ahead.
Perfect. It takes a while.
And you're launching an app now, is that correct? You're launching an app in
Yes,
Unity?
I'm launching a Unity app. Give me one moment.
Okay.
Is there something? Maybe go to Skylar first.
It's fine. We've got time if you just wanna. Is it working now? Yeah, no problem.
Yes. So, welcome to the Toilet Paper Mania, a museum in the shape of a toilet paper roll. This project is a response towards the panic buying of toilet paper during COVID-19. It creates a virtual experience that invites people to relive, rethink, and reflect their responses and behaviors change towards the toilet paper mania during COVID-19. It is constructed as a museum, and those videos disappear because as the water rises up, it becomes irrecognizable. And those are the hashtags gathered from Twitter that are very popular for during that period. And once you press F, the water level goes back to the lower part and it will rise up again. This is to mimic how people are forced into panic buying situation during COVID-19. When there's a threat to our survival, panic and fear setting, impeding our rational decision making. Given that toilet paper is considered essential, necessary for our daily routine, the least people can do is to be in control by buying as many toilet paper rolls as possible. Through this interaction, I would love for people to reflect on the subtle changes in their mental states and behaviors during COVID. If you want to experience the virtual museum yourself, it is already on the Maker page and you can go to the link. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Yiting. All right. Next up, I believe, is Sihan. Where did she run off to here? Sihan, are you here? She may have to jump back on. Skylar, if you'd like to go now, feel free to hop in.
I can step in.
Great. Yiting, if you'll stop your screen share, we'll go on to Skylar.
Cool.
Are you still screen sharing?
Skylar, you can go ahead and start. It'll stay on her last screen. So go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm holding shift. Oh,
And
here we go.
yep.
We got it.
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. Wait, did it work? No. Oh. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So trippy, I love it. 1 sec. How do I get to? This is not it. Oh my gosh. Right. So can people see this? Okay. Sorry about that. I tend to have a ton of tabs open, and people can hear me. Okay. Cool. So thanks for coming out today. I'm just going to take a little bit of time to talk about ITP's weather band. And since we don't have sound in this screen share, just imagine that there's like wonderful music playing in the background of this. So the weather band is a project-based group at ITP that is based around using weather data, like the sonification of weather data and making musical compositions out of weather data. And so I'm just going to take like 1 minute to quickly go over something that I built really quickly for one of our last performances, and then maybe take a minute to show some of the other projects that people have built. So this is just like a quick little thing I whipped up for our performance last. Gosh, it seems like forever ago, but so do most things nowadays. But I suppose it would be like back in the spring. But so this takes temperature data from the span of a couple of days and maps it across the width of the screen. And then I have violin notes that are separated into parts of the screen through an octave. And by clicking on the different like dots wherever they are, I can play that section of the violin. And the idea was that according to how the temperature falls out over the course of a day, I would have different kind of affordances to what I could choose to, what kind of sounds I could choose to make with this instrument. Like you can see that there were a lot of temperatures in this range, but if I wanted to play something that sounded like this, I would only have like 2 chances to play it. So I kind of think of this as the ability for me and the weather to collaborate on making interesting sounds by the weather telling me what I could do, and then I choose how to engage with that. So that's my that's kind of what I hope to get out of the project. But there are a lot of people who bring a lot of different things to it, and so really quickly, I think I'll just this was a it uses wind for spatial audio. Like this is where in the space it is, and it uses the wind data to determine where the sound's going to go next. This is also wind-based. Direction of the wind moves the guitar pick and it plucks the strings. And this was a compositional piece that tracks illuminance and temperature over the course of several days, and it turns it into like a musical composition with bells. So yeah, that's the overview. And if people want to see, or actually more importantly, if people want to listen, to any of this,
Was,
then I encourage them to go to
this
our
was a,
YouTube page and take a listen. But thank you, everyone, for listening, and thank you, Billy, of course, for having me. And that's all.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay, so I will share my screen. Wait a second.
Just while we're waiting.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Sihan, and I'm a first-year student at ITP, and I'm going to show my project called Bubble World, and it is a project that includes 3 mini interactive games in which you can interact with bubbles through your webcam in real time. So in the 3 games, you can move the bubbles with your hands, or bounce the bubbles with your head, or use your voice to control the bubbles. And as for how it works, it uses machine learning models to detect your face, body, and voice so that you can interact with the bubbles in real time. And so I will change. This is the website, and when so I will go for the first one. Can you see it? Yeah. So this one, when you basically when you, as you can see, when you move your hands around, the bubble will follow you, and when you dance, they will dance with you. Yeah, it's quite simple, but I find it interesting to just play with these bubbles. And the second one, it may take a few seconds to load. So in this one, the bubbles will fall from top of the screen and bounce off of each other on your head, so that, yeah. So you can try to catch as many bubbles as possible, or just bounce them off and play around like this. Yeah. And the third one uses sound classification. So when you raise your hands and say the word boom, the bubbles will appear in your hands. So when I say boom, boom. I don't know if the mic is not working, but when you usually it will appear in my hand. Boom.
So yeah, that's so great. Again, just to see a student presenting their work in a virtual space, you know, for us is a real advancement. You know, we really are trying to break out of these kind of typical spaces that we find ourselves in. So yeah, at this point, we'd love to invite you all to join us in YORB. So we're going to share a link in the chat, and if anyone here on the Zoom would like to join us, if you're watching on YouTube, you can join us at this yorb.itp.io link, and I'll just say a little caveat. Our server, the max capacity has we found it to be between 50 and 60 folks. So if 1,000 of you show up, that would be a great thing in some regards, and also probably crash the server. But that's kind of fun. So please visit us at this link and come into Yorb and kind of hang out with us for the next while. And I will keep my screen share going so the folks who are watching and not with us in Yorb can kind of see our interactions.
Hey, Billy, just one request. Could you put that link on your screen for just a moment?
Sure,
yorb.itp.io, so that the anyone watching on YouTube might be able to join. So again, it's yorb.itp.io.
Yeah.
And we will
yorb.itp.io. Yeah.
We will see you there.
Yeah, and we'll meet you there.
And just in case we don't have any time when we get back, just a big thank you to all the organizers of the Empire State Maker Faire for making this possible. Hope to see you in the space. The organizers. A big thank you to all the Empire State Maker Faire for making this possible. Hope to see you in the space. Hi. Yeah. Sean is here, yeah.
Hello.
And I will keep my screen share going so the folks who are watching and not with us in York can kind of see our interactions. Billy, just one request. Could you put that link on your screen for just a moment? yorb.itp.io, so that the anyone watching on YouTube might be able to join. So again, it's yorb.itp.io. So yeah, so all of the photographs you see here are projects that students did in our spring show. And if you click on one, you get all the information about the project. And the students were live at a Zoom room at this time. This year, we're hoping to have a more interactive setup like we talked about, but you can also visit the project website. So ideally, students would be here and we would be able to see them standing alongside their work. So that's kind of the goal in the future. Also, I'll show you the coding lab area, which on our actual floor comprises this space here in this area. And we would like for students to be able to come visit us in this area, and then we take them into a classroom and we can share our screens on the wall and give them help that way. So it's just a little bit of a break from the Zoom drain that we're all probably experiencing now. And again, I'm going to paint the walls again, which is, I just can't, I never get tired of painting the walls. This is our ER, our equipment room. And my office is here in the residence office, the residence, which is backwards. But yeah, this is kind of how we've been doing our winter and spring shows, which has been a lot of fun. yeah. What's up, Skylar? Oh, you can jump too if you press the space bar.
You can double jump.
You can double jump.
You can
You can
double
you
jump.
can bop your head on the roof.
Crazy. Just
I
think of it.
even got outside once. I jumped
gosh,
through the
really?
wall.
Oh man, I'm so jealous.
Hold on. There's definitely a way to get outside. There's like a few dead spots. Hello, Aiden. You can also run
Hi,
through
Billy.
people. I'm giving them the tour, but I'm taking them outside if we can get outside. Where's the secret spot? I know there's a secret spot to get outside. It might be here. Yes. So this is a random nondescript campus. Maybe you recognize it, but it's a 360 photo we found, obviously. But here is the whole floor. So in reality, this is the 4th floor of 370 J Street in Brooklyn. But yeah, I'm showing them how to bust out into the wild world.
Important, yeah.
Yeah, you're not just confined to the floor, although, yeah. These are our faux elevator banks. So yeah, let's meet some people. Let's make friends. Hello. Hi. Hello. Bye. All right. What's up, Aiden?
Hello.
All right, guys. Well, this has been awesome. We've had a really good time showing you around YORB and kind of showing you some of the possibilities. It's an ongoing development project for us, so so we're always trying to think of new ways to change this and make it better. And so yeah, we're really excited about the coming year. And again, thank you so much to the Maker Faire for letting us show this project today. It's been really, really fun. We did have one question. Someone said, "What is the server capacity?" And I mentioned that earlier. It's seems to be somewhere around 50 to 60 folks. So Aiden has gone to many pains to try to manage the number of people that we can have at once.
Yeah, I think we've had as many as maybe 70 in our largest event, and it worked, but not terribly well. So I think we can look to the future and hope to reach more people, but for now, it runs very stably with up to maybe 40 or 45 people.
Cool.
But I just want to say one thing about the technologies behind this, because I think this platform is a testament to what is possible using existing web technologies and open source platforms. So we're using a number of open source libraries, and we're able to put this together with a small team in a couple of months. So I think we're in an exciting time in that so much is possible, even without needing a huge development team or needing a big community of modelers or digital artists. You can really put an exciting presentation together or project together now, given a lot of the existing tools and free tools. So just an example of that is I think we built this as a kind of communications and way to connect with our community. But I think you could just as easily imagine a simple game being built in the same way, a simple interactive game.
Reminds me of WebVR or VRML or even Adobe Atmosphere, which was a short-lived Adobe product.
I'm not familiar with that. Is it?
It is ancient at this point.
Adobe VR?
1996 technology.
Wow. Or even like Flash Player. From what I remember from high school, learning a little bit of Flash.
Yeah, I used to teach that in a private high school. The yeah, there was a couple different ways you could do web, the VRML stuff, the early versions of it, where you could try to get a bunch of people in the room at the same time, but that it wasn't as good because it didn't have the directional sound to it. But the Adobe Atmosphere stuff did, and it was almost sort of like a. I mean, the problem, it was sort of like a web page kind of model because you had all your models were kind of just very similar to what we're looking at now, and you could kind of import some really basic. It was like it might have been pre-WebGL stuff, but so it's interesting that we're kind of cycled back to it.
Presentation together or project together. Now, given a lot of the existing tools and free tools. So just an example of that is, I think we built this as a
Let me go find Aiden again. I mistakenly took myself off the page.
Reminds me of WebVR or VRML or even Adobe Atmosphere, which was a short-lived Adobe product.
Aiden, we may need you to refresh again.
It is ancient.
We're caught in a YORB vortex.
wow.
A YORB text.
Like Flash Player. From what I'm back.
Hey.
Your project, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll have to try to search it out and see what you guys still going in development. Is the rest of it open source? Can people download and play and commit? Is it GitHub?
We're moving that direction. We're hoping to have it be like a plug and play experience.
It wasn't as good because it didn't have the directional sound to it.
Soon.
But the Adobe Atmosphere stuff did. All right, I hear myself again.
I'll stop the share. I'll stop the screen share. I see someone's talking about Verbella. We'll have to check that out. I have not heard of Verbella. Yeah, so that is our presentation. Again, this YORB space, yorb.itp.io, is always up and running. You can visit anytime. It might be in different states of development as we do our spring and winter shows again. So look out for those. You can follow us on Instagram at ITP_NYU for just general info about our program. And if we definitely invite you to come to our winter show this year, which I believe is December 16th and 17th. So yeah, look out for that. Aiden, you want to
and
add
just
some things?
yeah, thank you, Billy. Just one more thing is I'll just mention one of the questions from the chat, which is about the exhibits and how the exhibits are added to the space. So all of the exhibit pieces, which are, as Billy mentioned, they're student work from last spring, from the student showcase last spring, were added to a database of projects, and then the YORB system actually sort of dynamically queried that database for a description of the project and a link to where that project was being presented, because the projects were being presented within Zoom rooms, and images from the project, and so on and so forth, and kind of put them all together into these 3D project descriptions or posters. So that was something that allowed us to get a lot of people involved, and a lot of people. We had over 250 projects for the spring showcase, without needing everyone to kind of manually add their projects into the space. So that was a really good way to get a whole community to be able to use this space. So I think that's about it from me, and thank you once again to Billy and to the Empire State Maker Faire. All right, look
Thanks,
forward to
everyone.
the next one at 10.
All right.